Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Check the Post of Husker Nation. Brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. Today I'm joined by a Nebraska boy, a former Husker, former teammate, a guy who's been about 84,922 million places since we last saw each other in college, the current LSU offensive coordinator, former Husker Jake Peetz. How you doing, Jake?
Doing great, Adam. Thanks for having me on here.
So, all right, real quick. I'm going to run through this as quickly as I can. But, folks, I don't think I have any idea the journey that you've had to this point so far. And you're only 38. So, according to my kids, you'd be a dinosaur. But to the rest of the world, you're still really young. So, you're from O'Neill, Nebraska. Okay, obviously former Husker, current LSU offensive coordinator. You've coached high school ball with Jason Peter. You've been on the Nebraska strength staff. Then you walked on as a DB and a long snapper. Then you went to API, Athletes Performance, down in Arizona. Then UCLA, and I don't know if I'm going to have the order correct, but basically you've been to UCLA, you were with the Indiana Pacers, you're an analyst in college football, at least one, potentially two stops, I can't remember, with Nick Saban in Alabama, 10 years in the NFL, including stops at Jacksonville, Washington, quarterbacks coach at Oakland, running back / quarterbacks coach at Carolina. Okay, now, is there any place I left out? Because you have traveled, dude. Well, quite the journey, all right? Did I miss anything there?
Did you have Santa Barbara City College on there? I think you did.
No, I missed that. Santa Barbara City College. Add that on there. Talk about that journey, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been fun, and that's really where it all started. That was my first job after college. When we got done with the Alamo Bowl, we beat Michigan that year in that crazy game. Yep. I almost made the tackle to end the game, and I didn't even start the play on the field. Zach Bowman, who made the tackle, was my roommate for a while, and so I thought he was down. I was running out on the field to hug Zach, and shoot, we both ended up chasing the guy. All of us were out there.
Yeah.
But then I went to Athletes Performance, had a great opportunity to learn training there from Mark Verstegen. Was around a lot of great NFL players, major league players there in Phoenix, and then went to Santa Barbara City College and started out coaching special teams, the DBs, and the head strength coach out there on the beach. It was beautiful. Still got a picture in my office. I take it to all my jobs. I always put this picture up. One of my friends gave it to me when I left, said, never forget where you started. Santa Barbara City.
That's awesome. So you've been a strength coach multiple times. Okay, Athletes Performance, for those who don't know, is down in Arizona. They help train people for the draft, the NBA, college football, the NFL. All right, now you're the current and brand new offensive coordinator there at LSU. All that time and all that experience, all right, what do you think LSU fans would think if they knew their new offensive coordinator used to get absolutely dominated in NCAA football by yours truly? I mean, our record at one point was I had 50 wins and you had 0 losses. Okay, so that's scientific. That just is what it is. We did have 3 games, though. The last 3 games were probably the most entertaining games, because you finally, started to make it close and interesting. And I think we had one game where there was like 4 seconds on the clock. I was down by 2 scores. I threw a Hail Mary, onside kick. No time goes off. Another Hail Mary. I pull off the miracle upset. I think the next time you were beating me by 3 touchdowns, and then for some reason you shut the PS2 off. You accused me of having zip codes. And then the last one, you finally beat me, and we've never seen each other since.
It was a walk-off. It was a walk-off. You won't see me on it again. But, yeah, we had some good times. I'll never forget, when you were dating your wife, Angie, going over and hanging out at y'all's place and playing PlayStation. And, video games weren't really my thing. But we had at your place before where I don't know what they'd call that. That'd be like an NFL Classic or a college football classic. How in the world you can score 2 touchdowns and have a kickoff with 4 seconds elapsing on the clock is beyond me. But it happened.
It's coaching. It's just plain and simply coaching.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, man. All right. So you've had quite the journey, obviously. Is this a typical journey that most coaches go through? Like, I know my D-line coach with the Rams, and he'd been all over the place before he coached me with the Rams, but then he went to the Browns. He went to the Cowboys. He's now currently at Mississippi State, and I think there's another stop in there for him. So is this a typical journey for a college coach, an NFL coach, Or is this a little bit of an outlier and you got lucky, so to speak?
Yeah, and that's hard to say. I think you create your opportunities, and something I've been really blessed with, Adam, is to be around great people. And like Bill Callahan's the guy that first brought it up to me. You know, he said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good coach." He asked at the last spring of that would have been '05, my exit meeting. He said, "Hey, I think you'd make a good coach. What do you want to do after you get done?" And I hadn't really thought a whole lot about it. I had some ideas, but coaching honestly wasn't one of them. But then he helped me get out to UCLA's high school camp, and I went out there and met that staff and worked their high school camp. And the year after that, I was coaching at Santa Barbara City College, stayed in touch with them. The year after that, I was in the NBA. And then actually, the way the NBA season fell, I was able to work at Santa Barbara City College because their season's not as long. Then I went to the NBA. And then the very next season, I didn't even miss the football season. I was working at UCLA. So I think everybody, Adam, has their unique path. But like I said, being around, at UCLA, the first guy I met when I went there was Eric Bieniemy, who's a great offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, to then working down in Jacksonville with Jack Del Rio and all the great coaches we had there, Dirk Cutter, who was the head coach, Mike Shula, the name goes, go on. And then I went to Alabama for the first time, getting to work with Nick Saban, Doug Nussmeier, and Washington, Sean McVay, Jay Gruden, Oakland with Jack Del Rio again, and back to Alabama. You're right. I've been at Alabama with Nick twice, and then going to Carolina with Ron Rivera and Norv Turner, and then with Matt Rule and Joe Brady, and then ultimately being here, at LSU with Ed Ogeron. And we have a great staff and really good people here. And the SEC is I mean, I'm not even being biased. I see the SEC as being the closest thing to the NFL. And we have great kids. We have great competition. And I think all of it has been a product, Adam, of just being around some really good people, learning, and then putting it to work.
Now, every college conference is different. And you kind of brought this up, and I've actually got it written down. But what's the biggest difference you see from, like, SEC offenses compared to Big Ten offenses, so to speak?
And I'll tell you what, there's great football at every conference level. I think you have good players, good coaches, and there's certainly a competitiveness to each one. I think what's very unique about the SEC is that it's like the NFL, and you played in it a long time. You can win every game, you can lose every game. Like, anybody can beat you now. There's no gimmies, and it's a league where you have a lot of players from the South based on the geographics of the conference. And I believe per capita, there was a study that came out, and I don't remember how many years back it went. I don't know if it was 5 years or 4 years, but the most players per capita drafted in the NFL is the state of Louisiana, and a lot of the southern states follow it. So you're playing with and against a lot of NFL players. And I think that's what makes it different. Now, you have, in the Big Ten, you have Ohio State, who obviously puts out a lot of NFL players every year. And there are some other schools at different conferences, but I would say, pound for pound, every school in the SEC, you're going to see more NFL players every week than you would playing in another conference.
So talk to me specifically about offenses. Talk to me about the evolution of college offenses over the past 10 years. Going more spread, going more fast-paced, up-tempo, things of that nature. Talk to me about the evolution of collegiate offenses over the past decade and exactly what you've seen and what you think works today.
And that's a great question. It's football at its finest. We're trying to score points to win games. And I think whether you're in the SEC, whether you're in college or high school or the NFL, you're outscoring your opponent. And I think the way that people have attacked that has changed. And you see a lot of that now where people are spreading the field, utilizing the whole width of the field, running RPOs. So if the box is heavy, you're going to throw it. You're not going to run. Where you weren't getting blocked by them, but the safeties, they'd be getting cracked by receivers on different run concepts. Well, now we're running routes. We're not asking receivers to go down and hit a safety. We're just asking them to run their route. And if the safety plays deep, we'll hand it off and they'll be short the ball. And if they fit it, then we can throw it behind them. It's just different ways to attack. And I think, this has happened before. We're not inventing new things right now. Everything is cyclical. And everything's cyclical except for our PlayStation football games. That was a complete outlier. But
you kind of downplayed
is,
that a little bit, man. I thought I'd get more out of you. I think you're getting kind of old in your young age, man.
But I think that the way that people have done this before. RPOs were not just invented in the last 10 years even, but I think you're seeing people step outside the box from offense and defense. There are a lot of great defensive coaches, high school, college, NFL level, that are challenging some of the norms. And it's fun. It's fun to game plan. It's fun against them and to also game plan for them and trying to attack. That's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to attack all the time.
Now, did you ever think a small-town kid from O'Neill, Nebraska, yourself, and I looked it up, and there's just over 3,000 people in that town. I was surprised it was that many, would see all the things you've seen. And what's your ultimate dream / goal, something you'd like to accomplish before you're done coaching many, many years down the road, I'm sure. But, like, what's the ultimate, like, dude, if I did that, that'd be the ultimate dream of accomplishing whatever this blank is before I retire one day?
I think that one thing I really want to do is to make sure that I'm executing the job that I have right now. Like, I want to be an elite offensive coordinator. That's the role I'm in right now. And I think when I keep that first things first, then good things will hopefully happen. I do have dreams and aspirations like I did of becoming a coordinator. I wanted to be a great quarterback coach, and before that, a great quality control coach, assistant coach, whatever I was doing. And even 1 year when I stepped outside my comfort zone, I was coaching running backs, and I wanted to be the best running back coach and challenge Christian McCaffrey in every way I could. And I learned a lot from him, from that experience. And I would love to earn a head coaching position at some point and lead a program. I think that when I focus on being an elite, like, I want to be elite. I don't want to be good. I want to be an elite offensive coordinator. And if that happens, then, we'll have everything we want here.
You think about our last year at Nebraska, it's kind of crazy because Zach Taylor's the head coach of the Bengals. You're climbing up the coaching ranks, doing well. Who would have thought, looking around that room, so many potential future coaches and things of that nature, and guys doing really, really well. Kind of crazy when you look back and think about it. Greg Austin, the O-line coach there at Nebraska as well. Barrett Ruud when we were younger. So it's kind of crazy, all these guys that are now coaching and doing pretty well for themselves. All right, last question I got for you, and you can pick and choose whatever you'd like. Do you have a favorite memory from your time at Nebraska, behind-the-scenes stories just in general, from any time in your life, or a story about anything, anywhere, something you think could be interesting to the fine folks at home you like to share?
Yeah, I think, at Nebraska, before my brother, who passed away in 2014, before he got sick, and it was when he got sick, my senior year, him and I were living together, and I really enjoyed that. He was a golfer at Midland Lutheran and transferred over, and that was special. I enjoyed our games that we played, even given the varying degrees of cheating that you went through to win them. But
great coaching.
Great coaching. We had great teammates, man. We had a really good group there, and that was fun. And I think too, you don't have time to sit back and really look at it and feel like, hey, you've made it. One thing though that I did think of, and I was actually talking to one of my players about this last night. He's going through something in his life, and there were times that every step of the way where things are hard. And like, look at you in your career. You battled through some things, first round pick, and you had great successes. You had some serious injuries, or you'd played even longer. I mean, we would have worked together more at Washington. And, but it's like every time you get into a situation, like, there will be adversity, and it's how you handle it. It's not that you have adversity, because that will happen. It's how you handle it. And I remember specifically every place I've been along the way, it's like there was a moment where I'm like, man, do I really want to do this? And finding that motivation, and a big part of it for me was my brother, and like knowing that you could do it and grinding through it and achieving. And, I gave myself one opportunity when I got this offensive coordinator job, and I just was like thinking back to living on a floor at UCLA or Venice when I was at UCLA and not making any money and begging for a job at Santa Barbara City College and doing everything you could and being away from family, traveling all over. And it's like, hey, you're able to provide for your family in a big way, and you're able to impact kids at a high level. And I think just being able to do that, and then you get to do football, but that's a part of it. When you're a coordinator or head coach, it's a lot more than just the ball. And I think that's just having those experiences are very rewarding.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. It's good to talk to you again, and good luck next fall.
All right. Thanks so much, Adam. Really appreciate you, buddy.
All right, until next time, Husker Nation, go big, Red, and always remember, throw the bones. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.